Welcome back to Macro Crazy, you greedy capitalist pigs. All right, it's Sunday night, so I will be giving the economic releases for the coming week. But before that, there's a couple of things I'm going to cover. Of course, I'm sure you saw the initial image, which is Michael Burry. So I will cover some thoughts he has, some positions. But first, I want to talk about, as you can see, some comments from Morgan Stanley. Okay, the first thing they're talking about, no shock, inflation. Generally, their economists are forecasting moderating inflation, although shelter will still be supportive of heightened levels of inflation moving forward. They're actually seeing disinflation and looking forward, possibly deflation in medical and even more so in autos. Obviously, stocks in those sectors should be looked at from a short perspective if there's any kind of rally. And key suppliers would be another place to look. Okay, moving on. They have some comments on the dollar. They've moved from bullish to neutral. Basically, it comes down to a couple of key reasons. Number one, obviously, end of the interest rate hike cycle. And number two, so basically there's the rumor and more likely that China will be reopening slowly its economy and moving away from the zero COVID policy that they've been trying to implement since the beginning of this pandemic. The reopening of the Chinese economy should balance global growth and reduce demand for dollars. Morgan Stanley is not currently forecasting a hard landing, but their economists cannot rule it out. And it's something that's kind of overhanging every point they're making in their report. Well, obviously, I'll talk about Michael Burry's viewpoint, which is, let's say, slightly different than Morgan Stanley in a little bit. Okay, this last chart basically is saying something you might already know, which is that pauses in Fed hiking is bullish for stocks, apparently, according to Morgan Stanley. And cuts are negative if we're in or going into a recession. So not shocking, but it kind of coincides with what I spoke about yesterday. Per the report that I discussed yesterday, if you believe that, then sometime in the first half of 23, you want to, buy bonds. And in the second half, sometime you would want to buy stocks. Okay, we're moving on. Michael Burry, you might remember the name. If you don't, Google him. He's got a lot to say. He's the guy, you might have seen him or read about him in the book, The Big Short, the movie by the same name with Brad Pitt. Very smart guy, always putting stuff on Twitter. And there was an article about him on Seeking Alpha, so I thought I'd talk about it. Basically, he's got positions. He's got two REITs primarily. Which, if you're talking about stocks, one is like a prison REIT, and mental health facility REIT, and the other is similar to that. And then he's got another company called Charter Communications, which is also hard assets. And then the rest of his portfolio is basically like farmland and other hard assets. So you might ask, why the heck is he buying farmland and other hard assets and dumping the vast majority of his stocks? And the answer is real simple. Number one, he fears the effects of long and sustained inflation. So he's obviously not on this inflation bit will be resolved by mid-23. And the other thing is he's calling for a big crash. And, so basically he's getting downside protection by owning hard assets. So he's not on the Morgan Stanley or, the Wall Street bandwagon that this will be a soft landing or this will be over fairly quickly by the end of 2023. He's looking for something far uglier. So we should all be concerned. Okay, Monday, Tuesday, not much data. There is some Fed talk on Monday, but really nothing worthwhile, I don't expect. Wednesday, there is quite a bit of data, durable goods, jobless claims, PMI, consumer sentiment, and FOMC minutes. All normally would be market-moving information, but because Thursday is Thanksgiving and a U.S. holiday, I don't expect tons of sustained volatility from those numbers. Whether that carries over into the following week, I would doubt it, but we'll have to see what the numbers actually come out as. And Thursday, obviously, no numbers, and Friday, nothing scheduled. So releases are light this week. So go spend some time with family, eat a lot of food, and of course, watch some football, and get ready to position yourself to close out the year very strong and get set up for F23.